Welcome back to the pod you're looking for. I'm Josh, and this is Sam. And they say the best things in life are worth waiting for. And that is never more true than this episode today. We are a little behind. Do you want to fill the people in?
We're a little behind. So, Fantastic Four is announced. The trailer has come out. We're all excited. We've been waiting, bated breath, for this world premiere of this official Fantastic Four trailer. It finally drops, and I'm sitting there in the theater, and I'm watching, and it says July 25th, and my heart sinks. Because days before, my girlfriend, my lovely girlfriend, let me preface, my lovely girlfriend and her lovely family asked me to join them on a weekend vacation to Cape Cod that started opening night of Fantastic Four.
You really couldn't have timed it like any worse. It was awful.
So I just got back last night, and I just saw Fantastic Four, I'm going to say 12 minutes ago. So we have a lot to unpack here, dude, and I thank you.
We do, dude. My DMs have been flooded with people asking me where the episode's been.
Flooded. Hundreds of you. We thank you for all the comments. We thank you for all the hundreds of comments.
I know.
Hopefully we can get to all of you soon.
Yes. So as always, we haven't really talked about it at all. Because you just saw it.
I was stunned to arrive home and not find you on the futon talking to a camera that wasn't there. So I thank you for your patience.
Yes.
And the hundreds of you at home watching.
So you ready to give your review?
I'm ready, viewer.
Okay. All right.
Let's go. R rating. You do it better.
No, you do. No, you hit it.
You do it better. You do it absolutely better.
All right.
I'll just say my name.
R rating of Fantastic Four. First steps. 3, 2, 1.
9.0.
Okay. I should have done the decimal too. 8.0. Yeah.
An even 8.
You know what's interesting? That's the first time I've given a flat rating here.
Flat score.
Yeah, flat score. Yep. No decimal point.
I don't know if I'm surprised or not.
Okay. So you went 9.0. So you're a little higher. Okay.
Yeah, but again,
I'm not surprised by that.
Again, now we're up to 13 minutes ago.
If there's anything people have learned from this podcast, if you followed all the episodes through, there's a clear... I think you usually enjoy these superhero movies. Probably you're maybe a little higher coming out of it than I am.
I'm usually the one talking you up.
Right.
Yeah.
So usually by the end of the podcast, I'm the one that ends up raising their rating a little bit.
That's correct.
Unless it's Jurassic and that plummets. Outside of that.
Can we agree? Is that down to like a 6?
Yeah, it's down to a 6. Every episode we do, it's just going to go down a whole number. I wanted to start off with a few non-spoiler things, and then we'll get into the spoiler quick, because I know it's still been, it's only been a weekend. I mean, we joke that we've been waiting a while. I mean, it's still only a weekend, so most people probably haven't even seen it, potentially. I mean, most people probably have, but there's still a few chunk of people
There's still people in Cape Cod. I can confirm there were people coming into Cape Cod when I was leaving, so there are people who haven't seen this movie.
Okay. All right. I'm really interested to see what you have to say. Do you want to start?
So this is a very brief pros and cons of the movie.
Yeah.
I can't go into my cons in the spoiler-free, but I can absolutely go into my pros.
Okay.
My immediate brief pros for Fantastic Four First Steps, I felt that the first, and I saw this briefly when I got home, like one of the only things I saw in just waiting for you to come into the professional $1 million studio that we have. I was reading through. I agree with the sentiment that a lot of people seem to have, that the first act specifically is maybe one of the best constructed first acts in a Marvel movie ever, legacy or not. The way it flows, if Avengers Doomsday, the entirety of it, or even maybe I would dare to even say 2/3 of Avengers Doomsday flow as well as that first act of Fantastic Four flows, we are in for a very good movie. I mean, they pack a ton in there, and none of it felt rushed. None of it gave me whiplash. Immediately, they skipped the origin, and I'm only saying that because it's in the trailers. And the director confirmed that, Comic-Con 2 years ago, they were skipping the origin. They skipped the origin, so it allows you to just go right into it. And I found myself 12 minutes into the movie being like, I already care about these characters.
Agreed. And I also think, even though they skipped the origin, they still do a nice job of covering it more than just putting 4 years ago this happened. 4 months ago, with the Superman.
And it's very stylized, too. Yeah. Matt Shakman, the director, said that he wanted to utilize not just film homages in terms of cinematography or props or practicality. He wanted to utilize original 60s film style. So everything is a lot of still shots. All the sets and the set design is very, very retro and very what do they call that? Where it's futuristic but aged. Mm-hmm. It's almost like the Fallout vibe, where it's set in a futuristic Earth, but it's got that 60s. It's frozen in the 1960s. in terms of like furniture and technology. And so you have like Reed Richards creating these like unbelievable inventions and unbelievable like breakthroughs in technology, but he's using like computers with no screens, and he's got all the dials and everything, and it's very practical. He's still writing on a chalkboard and doing all of his equations, so it's very stylized and rolled back, and I love seeing practicality in a Marvel film again. That was very encouraging. So I really commend the director for that, and I think even if the movie was we're skeptical about certain things in the movie, I think knowing Matt Shakman being the mind behind WandaVision, narratively you could go either way on WandaVision, but you knew that Matt Shakman like was the perfect guy for like a 60s themed Marvel movie in terms of like handling a decade and trying to like encapsulate it in like a 2.5 hour movie. So that was very good. I loved the set design. I loved the first act. Even the second act was great. Yeah.
I'm glad you agree about this. I felt like the first and second act were definitely superior to the third.
Yes.
And we can't get into this until spoilers, but there was definitely some things at the very end of the movie that I felt like was the reason that my score dropped. Mm-hmm. Almost the entirety of my score drops from the end of the movie.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Right.
I think you touched on it well with the set design, but they do a really good job as well while making it feel old, of it being a very colorful movie. It feels very distinct to any other Marvel movie I've seen.
Yeah. 100%.
And I think that's the best thing that we're seeing now is from Thunderbolts and this, we're starting to see a bit more of a Marvel that you really feel like each project is separate. And I think that's great.
That's exactly what we needed.
Watching Captain America 4 back, there's nothing specifically that stands alone in this movie. Where now you have Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, and it's just nice to see that you get a little more of that progression and individuality.
Yeah, I think somewhere along the way with like all the Avengers movies, when we were in the thick of phases 1 through 3, I think when entering into phases 4 and 5, they felt, okay, these are our most popular movies, and so we have to capture that tone in every movie that we do. But the reason that the other movies were so popular is because you had different directors, different tonal directions, and different characters with different styles. And the Avengers movies were where it all came together, and you finally, you didn't see the bigger vision until they were all together. And that's what made the Avengers movie so special. Like, it's not about capturing the Avengers vibe in every other movie, because then it doesn't breathe on its own. It depends too much on the past.
Right.
And this literally could stand on its own. This could be technically like a legacy Marvel movie that like 2 years down the road they say, oh, this is canon. Mm-hmm. And it would still, like even now, it would still not suffer in quality and in my reception personally of it. Like, it's just a very good on its own movie. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, like, I would be fine rewatching this on like a rainy day or something.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And not feeling like I had to like go from that to Doomsday to whatever. Like, there's no continuity that I feel I have to. Now we can talk later about that.
Yes,
because that could be a bad thing as well. But like, I definitely think that the lack of connection to everything else was a positive.
That was a point I wanted to discuss at some point. Is I feel like the problem for me going into this movie is I had a hard time separating this movie from Doomsday.
Yep.
And I think it was intended to be separate from Doomsday. And going in, I felt like they were, maybe it's on me, but marketing it around it a little bit more, that this was the lead into Doomsday.
Right.
So to me, it just felt like we were going to be getting a bit more of a transition at the end of, this is directly where we're going. Right. And I said to you last week that I was excited to have a week where, in a week when we'd be recording this podcast, that we would have a direct knowing of where this is exactly going. Mm-hmm. And we have a clue, but we still have a lot of theorizing to do with the movie. And I know we can't really say more, at least at this part.
Yeah.
But I wanted to transition as well and talk about just how much I think that they nailed both Galactus and just the rest of the cast in this movie. I think they were great. Coming into this movie, I wasn't sure about a lot of the characters. I felt like Sue was probably my lowest point from the movie as an actor playing the role.
Okay.
And
was going in or going back out?
Going back out.
Okay.
And I also feel like the Thing was underutilized in this movie, but he was great, if that makes sense.
That was a tricky one where I walked out. One of my initial thoughts is we didn't see enough of the Thing, but then at the same time, like looking back at the plot, I couldn't find a place mentally where he would have fit in and it would have made sense.
And see, that's the problem, though, I think.
Yeah.
Right? They just didn't have anything for him.
He was just sidelined
they really
from
didn't.
the get-go.
They, like, experimented with the... I don't know how to say this without too much, but they experimented with this thing, I guess with the teacher. So they experiment with it, but they don't really do too much with it. It was just like a little something to have him do anything. Felt like to me. What do you think of Pedro as Reed?
I am 100% bought in with Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. I am 100% bought in. I think because he's always played those like rough and rugged people, whether it be Joel from The Last of Us or The Mandalorian, like you're used to. And again, that's like clear. That's kind of like the most stereotypical references you could make to his character, but like that is kind of the continuity of like Pedro Pascal's career as like the rough and rugged guy. I think he was in like he was definitely in like Game of Thrones. He was in, I believe, that show Narcos. So he's not had like a. And this is not an insult, he's not had an intellectual role to play. And so I couldn't imagine how it would work. And I walked out definitely feeling like I believed that he was as smart as the movie wanted me to feel he was. Like, that was not called into question once. And I was very glad, because I really thought I'd be fighting my own skepticism throughout the entirety of it. But I really bought, like, every action his character had. And when it came time for the plot to demand an emotional reaction out of his character, I felt that like you could feel the rawness, and that was where like the typical Pedro Pascal isms could shine, where it's like the emotional. A lot of his best acting comes in like his relationship with the other characters.
100%.
And so they did allow for him to have like a solid balance. He even did like some stuff with like his voice where it was pitched higher. He like pitched his voice higher, and he was more like to the point. Like everything was accentuated, and he had just like quirks that he developed for the character that felt very original and creative and true to the source material. So I really liked him. I don't know about you.
I fully agree. Yeah,
you do? Okay.
I think this was a stark reminder to me how he's become so populated in a lot of big projects lately, and this showed me why.
It's easy to forget why, because it's better. It's easier to fall into the joke.
He was great, I thought, acting-wise. Near the end of the movie, when in the final act, he has a point where he has to go through some emotional things, and I like totally was bought in on what he was doing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I loved him. Loved Joseph Quinn.
You did.
I thought he was awesome.
Good. Yeah.
I felt like they gave him enough to do, and also. I think I connected the most with him of anybody, you know, and I think it makes sense. I saw some people criticizing the fact that he wasn't like too cocky enough and too much of like a, I don't know what you want to call it. But yeah. I think with the setting of it being 4 years after, I think it's fine. Like he's matured enough in the role. We've seen that kind of done out more. And
I think in a day of storytelling where like the chick magnet character is either overused or just not really accepted in like the culture we're in, like I think that they towed the line as closely as they could while still like giving him depth. He still like thought on his own toes. He was clever, and there was like an element of like he's clearly like the chick magnet of the team, like and the ladies all want to be with him, but like it was not like the driving force behind his character. He was not just the guy who like poked his head out of the limo and waved at the crowd. You know what I mean? So that was cool.
It was nice to see him have like a actual intelligent part of his character.
We haven't really seen that before. So
can we talk about how good Galactus looked, man? Oh my gosh. When they first... I really avoided most of the trailers. Like, I tried to look down in the theater when this was playing. And, man, like, the shot of him when they do the whole space sequence, which was phenomenal. That was my favorite part of the whole movie. Like, wow. Right?
Yeah.
Him and Silver Surfer was awesome in this movie.
Silver Surfer was great. And I do want to give props to... Is it Julia Garner? Very just unexpectedly good. And I'll say, my skepticism came from just an outright lack of comic book knowledge in that area. Like, I was not familiar with that iteration of the character. And I know there is, like, a few comic lines or one major one with her, specifically as the Silver Surfer. I was not familiar. So that was where my skepticism really was founded. It was very just a simplistic, I don't know this character, so I don't really like the lack of familiarity there.
Yeah. You talking about the Times Square part?
Just her presence in the movie in general, as opposed to just the regular Silver Surfer. Like, I was very skeptical just because of my lack of experience with the character, or that iteration. And she was fine. Like, there was none of it. In this movie, nothing felt, like, really forced in either direction. No narrative. It wasn't like how, and again, people say Marvel is drifting too far into, like, the, like, diversity thing. And then other people say, oh, look at Marvel course correcting and trying to prove that they're not just like the diversity thing they've been pushing. It felt like this movie was neither. It just felt like it was safely planted in like a we're just trying to tell a good story thing. There was no like message behind anything in either direction, which I thought was great.
I agree.
I knew we needed a break. We needed a break from just like the mutual discourse. I'm tired of both of it. Like both sides. Like,
no, I agree.
It was good.
I agree. And last thing I want to say, I think, before we move off of spoiler, for people who haven't seen it, sit through the first post-credit scene, not the second.
The second one's in. I think I'd still sit through it.
You'd sit through it?
I would, and I'll tell you why in spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and branch there now?
Yeah.
Okay, so everything from here on out, we're talking openly about the movie. Go see it, come back.
This is spoiler talk.
Okay.
This is why...
Why do you like it?
Because Mr. Fantastic punched a Sentinel. An X-Men Sentinel.
Oh. Dude, I didn't even notice that.
That was like the first appearance of Sentinels in the MCU.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he in the cartoon, he whacks a Sentinel in the head.
I wasn't even paying attention.
He hits the Sentinel in the head, and I'm sitting there and I lean forward. That's a Sentinel. And, then, and it was so weird that it was there.
Yeah.
But it was there.
I was not clocking that.
Yeah.
I was not paying that close attention. I haven't, by the way, looked at like anything online at all about this movie. I'm trying to keep it as tight.
I probably would
have.
I just have had no phone. But yeah.
Okay.
So I would.
I thought it was just like a like you remember in Thunderbolts when they do like the serial
right.
He's
just
like something just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, dude. So I think I'd still sit through that. What's going on, everybody? It's Sam. Just a little disclaimer here. I happened to do a little bit of picking around after our recording into all of the characters and villains that appear at the end in the post-credits scene there with the cartoon, and I happened to figure out that it was not, in fact, a Sentinel that Mr. Fantastic was fighting. It was the earliest character design for the villain Claw. And Mr. Fantastic wasn't even punching him like I had previously said. He was actually shooting him with a shrink ray. So... double wrong. I'm gonna leave it in. We're owning up, but I'm gonna leave it in because I do look cute when I'm excited. But excuse my over eager breakdown of a Sentinel that never appeared. And thank you to Marvel for making Claw look exactly like a Sentinel. Back to our previously scheduled programming. If it wasn't a Sentinel, it looked like it. And if we're not getting a Sentinel in this movie, we're getting it in Doomsday. So
okay, well, my bad, people. Sit through it. Sit through it. Big old part. Okay, I need to start because I think most of my negatives from this movie I wasn't able to talk about, and I'd love to talk about that final act.
Okay, so spoiler talk starts with the negatives. Okay.
Yeah, we're starting with the negatives because I think for the most part we covered almost all of it except for post credit.
Okay.
So
go for it.
From the last act, man. I was disappointed coming in.
Could you give like a where do you feel the last act really began?
Okay. I would say the second they look up into the sky and they see like the it looks like you see the ship coming in.
His ship has arrived.
Yeah, that's when the last act.
Okay, keep going.
I would say maybe the final build up, whatever.
Sure.
You know, that's where I start to lose it. He looks great coming in. Which, do you have any idea why he was looking down at the Statue of Liberty? Was there anything there? Did you notice that?
I think it was more of a scale. It was more to show the scale.
Okay.
Like
I didn't know if there was anything there.
The way Galactus is often described is his destruction of worlds is not out of evil. It's due to a necessity to eat. Like he just has to eat. Like he's hungry and he's literally just trying to find food. And and I believe the director or somebody likened it to like us walking by an anthill and just seeing ants. I mean, I'm sure when you step on an anthill, the entire colony is turned upside down, but we don't clock that. We're just thinking like, oh, it's an anthill, that's gross, and you kick it. Like, that's Galactus. Like, he's looking at Earth, and he's perceiving it as, like, small and insignificant. And so I believe that shot was more just to, like, showcase the scale and, like, the mental, like, to us, like, the Statue of Liberty is like giant. To him, it's like, that's cute.
Okay.
I believe that's what that was.
That makes sense. Coming into this movie, I really expected that he was going to be winning this movie. And I don't know why I thought that now in hindsight, because thinking about it, it would be kind of dumb in a way to have your debut for the Fantastic Four just be an instant loss.
Right.
And I guess that's where it starts to be the bridge between I expected more of this to tie directly into Doomsday from the movie, not the post-credit scenes. And I was ready for something more. So I wanted to see, because I assume Galactus is something that could in future be a Avengers-level threat.
Sure.
And to me, having Sue essentially just solo him was not a great look. Yeah. I don't think it ruined Galactus at all, or did huge damage or anything like that at all. I just think it didn't make him look super powerful. That you have Sue, who in other parts of the film is captured, struggling to do specific actions. Like make the whole ship invisible at certain points. I know she was pregnant for one bit of that, but still. Then she's able to just shove Galactus all the way back through.
Yeah.
Because she has mom strength, and she's upset about her kid. Like, it was a little bit of a... I don't know. Like, I was just, like, a little unsure of it. And again, it's fine, but to me, like, I just wanted so much more for Galactus, and I think they could have easily told a story where they kind of win the movie, and then he's still, I don't know, a little something better to make him look stronger. At the same time, though, he probably was just one of those things where he wasn't prepared for them to actually put up a fight. Because usually he's just used to trampling over people. And maybe it was something where you can just say he was caught off guard. He just got shoved. Like, he didn't really fully get beaten. So I get it on both sides, and that's something I kind of wrestled with. And then the other thing, too, was just the optics of Franklin saving her from death, which I thought was one of the funniest things in the movie. Because my whole theater was, like, gasping and, like, no. And I was like, did we not all watch the Doomsday cast reveal?
Right. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, so Sue is a variant in the future movies.
Oh, that's what you were thinking.
I was thinking it would be like Doom would open up Battleworld and like there would be Sue as his wife because that's the concept art we've seen.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking that at all. I was just thinking, there's no way she's dying from this, right?
Right.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then the baby swooped in.
The baby swoops in, and I understand he's the all-powerful being, right? But they made that abundantly clear. It just felt like, for the ending of a movie where I was expecting something catastrophic, I was like, wow, I guess they're not going to kill her, but, like, maybe they do something. And then that happens, and he just revives her on touch. And, like, I understand it fits for everything. It fits. It was just more so for a final act of a movie. It was, like, a couple things that felt very rushed, the whole sequence. And then just two things that I was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
And then tied in with the fact that it didn't feel like it directly led into anything Doomsday related, I was like... Now, again, that's before the post-credit scene, but just from the movie standpoint, I wasn't sure. And I'm still not quite sure what I think. But, I mean, what do you think about that? You said you didn't like the last act. What was your thoughts on that?
My immediate, and again, my thoughts are probably, like, this is... the most fresh movie conversation I think I've ever had in my entire life. Yeah. Like out of theater reaction. I don't know. My thoughts are not. I said to you before we sat and talked. My thoughts are. I feel more rounded than I expected them to be, but like they're still fresh. And so I don't. This is all subject to change on my end. So I don't know how much people should trust a word I say. But my first initial reaction walking out of this movie is I trust Marvel 110% now. They're back to producing movies that are of peak quality. I agree. And I don't say peak in the way that's been used before where it's, peak, we're back. This is a fantastic movie, for lack of a better word. Like, this is a spectacular showing from Marvel. Followed, like, up with, the other spectacular showing in Thunderbolts. So it's just we're continuously rolling now. So we're good. We got momentum behind us. There's absolutely zero connection between this and Avengers Doomsday.
Right.
And I have no idea how that movie's going to play out. Now, do I trust them? Yeah, I actually think I do now.
I have that same point.
In terms of quality, I trust them. I have no idea how this movie's going to play out. And that's why I say, if you keep the train chugging along as fast as it chugs in the first maybe 35 to 40 minutes of this movie that we just saw, we're fine. Do whatever you want, because I trust you. But you have to keep up that pace, because you have not set up this movie at all. There's been no setup. This is the first time we've seen Doom. The movie comes out in a year and a half, not even a year and 4 months. And... you only have one more chance, really, with, like, Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Which I don't think really will tie much in.
I don't. So unless you would have to do like they did with Captain Marvel, where the post-credits of Captain Marvel is, like, totally disassociated the Avengers reacting to the blip. Like, you would have to... Or not the blip, the snap. You would have to have, like, a completely disassociated end credit scene with Doomsday, with Brand New Day that's confirmed by the... stay for this! Because it has nothing to do with Spider-Man, but, like, this is our last, like, tease for Doomsday. Like, you would have to set it up like that. I'm sure they will. Because they have to. I just have no idea how it all works. Because originally you're thinking, oh, they're breaking through the atmosphere in Thunderbolts because their world has been devoured by Galactus, which I would like to return to Galactus in a second. And then in this, you're thinking, oh, okay, so Galactus is gone. Doom is here. And we haven't set up the dynamic between Reed and Doom. Like young friends, like lifelong friends, like college friends, roommates, and rivals now. Like, we don't know what Doom's motivations are. It just and you don't know why. You could get me to believe why Doom would be after Reed now, because there is a rivalry in the comics that's real, and it keeps Doom going because he hates Reed and Sue, and he wants Franklin. I don't understand what his motivation would be in all the rumors that we've heard about. Oh, he's going after Loki now, because, like, how do you balance both? So there's just a lot going on where you're like, I have no idea how this is going to work, and we just need something. So I really don't know. So my immediate thought is, walking out, I trust Marvel again to make great movies, so I trust Doomsday to be great. I have no idea how it's going to be great, though, because they have not set the story up in the slightest. And so that was 0.5 away from me. That was what took it from a 10 down to a 9.5 in my immediate reaction.
Can I add with that too?
Yeah.
About 5 months ago, when I saw them say that Doomsday was going to be the beginning of something, not the end, I felt a little skeptical about that thought. Now I fully trust that, like you're saying.
Right.
Now I'm okay with it being the beginning. If that's actually legit, I see that they're producing good things. I'm not so worried about them using that as an excuse. And maybe more that's just what they were planning at this point.
And I'm seeing a lot of people say, like, liken Doomsday and Secret Wars more to like an Avengers 1 type of situation, where you're this is like the culmination of the universe now, rather than like the culmination of like a saga. Which it should be the culmination of a saga, and in all realistic, talk, like, this should be the multiverse saga's big conclusion, but you have to look at it more as like the first Avengers. This is the first time a lot of these characters are seeing each other and fighting a big threat together. And when you look at it like that, it's okay.
Yeah, which I'd rather them do now. Just ignore the little period you had from 2020 to 2022.
Right.
And let's just move on with it and get back on the ship. So I'm okay with that.
We're
Ride the pony a little more now.
Exactly. And we're actually at a point now where, for the first time, you could probably say there has been more good post-Endgame than bad, which is really kind of wild. And the bad is bad. It's bad. But I would almost say, at this point, it's pretty...
Is that taking the shows out?
Yes, but only because Kevin Feige recently said, in a lot of things that he was saying, he said recently that there's just some bad projects that have come out that we'll just never hear from those characters again. So that tells me we can write a lot of these bad things
off. Which
is
fantastic. Yeah,
it's great. But all that to say, I walked away, 0.5 being just there's no direct connection other than Doom showing up in the post-credit. To Doomsday, other than that. Like, there's no connection other than just him being present in the universe, which we already knew he was. We just hadn't seen him yet. And the other 0.5, I just felt that Galactus was defeated a little too quickly. And you
for how much they built it up,
right, too. And he's in deep space. Like, they did the whole thing, oh, boy, he could still come back, but will he really? Because, I mean, how many times have we said that about a villain? Oh, he wasn't totally defeated. But, I mean, it's not like they're going to bring him back and have him be... It's the same reason they won't bring back Kang. You're not going to have Galactus come back and rehash his origin, rehash why he thinks the way he does, rehash why he needs to devour Earth. And so, although I loved, like, the scale of Galactus, although I loved the looming, like, threat of Galactus, I really didn't... I felt that he should have consumed Earth. I felt
agree.
That he should have. I felt that the best way you could do that, like you said, because you don't want their first outing to be a loss, the best way you could have done that is for them to ultimately best him, where he's through the portal, but in the moment that he comes out, he devours the Earth. And honestly, Galactus can change his size at will. So there was a part of me that expected him to be like the comic Galactus, where the dude is looming over Earth, and he's so enormous that you can't even see, like, more than his eye, because his eye covers the entire horizon, and he inhales and the Earth is destroyed. He just swallows the planet. Like, that was the Galactus I thought we were going to get, and I thought that he was just sizing himself down to, like, give the Fantastic Four some sort of a scale to try and, like, fight against. I think I kept waiting for the impending, like, doom around Galactus to really actualize itself, and I thought that it was going to happen when he climbed back out. I thought he was going to be like, all right, that's it, you guys. And then he was going to grow, and, like, the Earth was going to be screwed. That's what I thought, and it just didn't happen. And so another 0.5 just for that, because I just felt that it was an Ultron level villain in terms of quality that just was defeated too quickly.
He didn't get really any moments to do anything powerful at all, other than just walking through the city. And I think if you didn't believe he could do all the things that like he didn't do, like it wouldn't bum me out as much. But I know he had more in the chamber, and he just didn't do it. And the fact that they did him so well for the first 2/3 of the movie, and they build him up so well to be this big, credible, scary thing, and then he just doesn't deliver on any of it at all.
Exactly.
You know what I was kind of hoping for, that I thought was a chance, was the second they did that portal scene. So they beat him, essentially. When he starts to come back through, like right before then, what I thought would be interesting is if they did something where that's when Doom showed up, took Franklin, that's when Galactus comes back through the portal, and they get distracted. That's how you get that scene in the post-credit of Thunderbolts, where that's them going. And I would have loved to seen them do something like that. So that's where we get our first interaction, right? They see Doom. Then the post-credit scenes is a continuation of what happens in the Thunderbolts one. So we get a little more from that. And I would love for it to be something where it was them touching down on Earth 616. They look up, and they see like a mural of RDJ as Iron Man. And they see like the parallel where it's like, why is this universe the guy that we just saw, the hero here, that just took Franklin? Something like that.
That would have been great.
So, because I think they would have won. Galactus gets to look good. It also gets them to the universe, which was the three things I was kind of hoping for. And I feel like it accomplished the same thing, no? I
think we got the safest ending we could have gotten, and I don't know if I'm okay with that.
See, that's my number one thing I said coming out of the movie, was it was played very safe.
Yeah, it's not bad, so you can't hate on it.
They left everything on the table.
Right, which is good, but like you should have picked a continuation that is going to have to be in Doomsday and just put that at the end of this.
Right, and I think they had so many excuses. I don't think anyone would have looked at the Fantastic Four as weak in this movie.
Right.
And again, having the pressure of it being the movie leading into Doomsday more so, I think that would have been a great direction. And plus then it just adds so much more emotional stake to what they've been through in connection to those characters. I don't know. So are we confirmed that pretty much now in the Thunderbolts post-credit you think it's actually the Fantastic Four coming back looking for Franklin? Because I assume that's what that is now.
I think it is, but I'm just trying to figure out... I know that Pedro Pascal teased and the Russos teased that Reed in this next movie is very much like the fact that they're mingling with the people of our Earth, the main timeline, is very much a product of Reed's over curiosity with the multiverse. That's what they've said. So I have to believe that it's a mistake on their part that they're connected, and it's because of them. So in my head, I'm like, okay, so then they're the ones who get themselves there. Like it's not like they're chasing Doom into our Earth. I just feel like there's like, as weird as it sounds, we've been asking for Marvel to just like go back to the basics of what makes themselves good and stop like taking so many like risks. I almost would have preferred a risk there at the end. Like you played the whole movie safe. You got to do something because I have no idea what's going to happen in this movie now. And now I feel okay. You played it safe. Now Doomsday and Secret Wars have to be like 3 hours and 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like this movie, if we find out that Doomsday is an hour and 55 minutes long, we're in trouble.
Right.
And I don't think it will be. There's no way. But I just kind of am like...
Which, again, this movie was relatively short compared to what we've been doing.
It was an hour and 55 minutes long.
Which is fine, but I almost feel like they just could have done more with Galactus in that final act.
And I almost wonder if they did, because they said they reshot like 3 different things. I'm like, I wonder if one of them was either a loss on their part or something with Doom, or if Doom wasn't even in the movie, and... I don't know.
I just feel like coming in, most people were expecting Galactus to win anyway. Which, I don't know if I should be happy that maybe it's like a don't trust everything Kevin Feige says now kind of thing again. Which is great. But, like, I don't know. I don't think many people would have been upset at him losing it all.
No.
Like, I don't think a lot of people would have considered that a risk.
No.
I think they would have just said it was what was going to happen.
Yeah, I think it would have paved the way for Doom to create Battleworld and for the Fantastic Four to be like stranded in the multiverse with no home to go back to. And so when Doom kind of creates this amalgamation of all these different universes, the Fantastic Four just adopt the same world as all the characters we're already familiar with. And that's how you just kind of usher it in.
Yeah.
Because now if the Fantastic Four...
Why would they not go back?
If the Fantastic Four are still around when we soft reboot this thing after Secret Wars, now you have a whole world that's left unprotected.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of like... I just think that world should have perished, and I think that it wouldn't have taken anything away from the Fantastic Four.
I agree.
If it had. I think if they had beaten Galactus and then he came back out of the portal and was like, all right, you guys. And like I said, and then he just devoured the world.
I'm almost starting to think with Doom taking Franklin, you mentioned Battleworld. I almost think that this is the reason why we're getting a focal point of Loki in Doomsday.
Mm-hmm.
I almost wonder if he's going to be gunning to become like the new, not God of Stories, but something similar to be like the God of Time.
I think it's something to that end.
And that's why Loki's going to be a main...
He can't create Battleworld unless Loki is out of the picture, because Loki's the one holding all of the separate universes together in their place.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like now you have a thing where you have to set up why Doom is taking Franklin and why Doom is aware of Franklin and why Doom is we all know this. We know the comics enough, or we know the origin, or if you don't, I mean, look it up on Screen Crush and read the 3-minute article on why Doom hates Reed and Sue. But like, you don't know that in the context of the MCU. So now you have to set that up, but then you also have to set up how he even knows of Loki, and he's after Loki. Because Doom is not a cosmic person; he's a human with cosmic powers. So, like, his awareness of Loki makes no sense now. And like, how does he catch wind of the TVA?
Yeah,
I don't know. It just all is so confusing to me. I'm just trying to figure it out. Again, I'm probably sounding negative. I'm not. Like, this is exciting, but I just really hope that it doesn't cause Doomsday to suffer when they could have just added a 2-minute scene at the end where maybe the Fantastic Four where's Franklin? Where's Franklin? Sue goes to get them, and then Doom and Franklin are gone and the ship is taking off, and that's how it ends. And so now you're like, okay, so Doom and Franklin are headed to Earth. Or Doom is off in something, the Fantastic Four are chasing him, and they get somehow lost in the multiverse or something, and that's how they end. There's like a 2 to 3 minute way you could have solved that problem. And I'm sure they will, but it just takes time away from Doomsday to tell different things.
You just can't oversaturate Doomsday more than it already is.
Right.
So why not help it out a little bit now?
Right.
And this is not at Marvel now. This is not at the Fantastic Four movie. I think more it's just we're experiencing the symptoms of what happened from 2022 and 2023.
Right.
Not really building anything.
Yeah, it's us saying we trust you, but we would really hate to see that go nowhere again.
Yeah, and it's too bad that you did that, because now we're in a spot like this. I think you can recover it because of how well you've been doing. But and I kind of wanted to mention this too. I saw somewhere online somebody say recently, like, can we be done with the is Marvel back thing?
Yeah.
I don't know where I saw that, so shout out whoever said that. But I think it's true though, because we've now seen we've seen Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, we've had Deadpool and Wolverine was the last thing, which I know people love to hate that movie now, but it was still a good movie.
We had Guardians, we had
Guardians. Yep. I think pretty much it's just been the Marvels that's been the only movie in the last stretch that people didn't love.
Quantumania and
yeah, but I'm not even counting that stretch.
Yeah.
To me.
When were those? When was Quantumania?
2023, 22?
Was it really?
Early, maybe? Dude, I don't know. Might have been early.
That whole time is just so, like, it was so abysmal.
I know. But see, again, we're moving on from that.
Right.
And if you look at the future, right, we have Spider-Man 4 and 2 Avengers projects.
Right.
I mean, it's loaded.
Yeah.
Like, I think almost the whole talk of, is it back? Like, I'm ready to move on. Like, I think we're just talking about Marvel again like it's...
We're right where we're supposed to be.
Right.
And you just have to hope they stick the landing.
How cool is it to have Marvel and DC firing at the same time, man?
Never happened before.
This is awesome.
Never happened before in this sense, where it's 2 universes. Usually it's like Marvel's competing with a really good standalone DC project, whether it be Joker or the Batman or the Dark Knight back in the day. When Avengers was coming out, like the Dark Knight trilogy was just closing up. But there's never been 2 universes that are like going blow for blow. And I think the competition will cause the stories to just be inherently better. I think, like, they act like it's all friendly. I think it is like a serious professional. Our story has to be better than the competition. Because why wouldn't it be?
And as fans, that's what you want, right? I mean, it just elevates them both to be better.
Right. We're on the winning end of what's going to end up being a very strong competition.
Yeah, and they both feel like they're, even though Marvel has been coming from a lot of other stuff, it feels more like the beginning of something to me.
Yeah.
So I feel like both universes have just a lot more hope than they did before, but like actually a lot of hope just going forward.
A lot more hope and a great foundation.
Yeah. I did kind of want to pose a question I had to you.
Okay.
Now, after seeing the movies, do you think Fantastic Four was better than Superman?
I was trying to answer this question on my own on the way home. And they're so different. What do you think?
I think Superman was better still.
You think Superman was better?
Now, again, I've had a few days to reflect on it, so I know you've been quick on it. I think in Fantastic Four, again, I think I was expecting more coming out of it for what I felt.
Sure.
I also think that in Superman, there are more points that... because they're both very close to me in terms of ratings. And I think in Superman coming out of it, there was more things that I looked back on that were moments that I said, like, I want to be able to go show somebody that. And, like, I'm excited to see their reaction to that moment. In Fantastic Four, it would be more like, I'm excited to show somebody that, hey, that Marvel's doing well again. But I don't know if there's many things specifically that I point at in that movie that I'm like, I really want to go back to the theater to see that part again.
Sure.
And outside of Doom, obviously, but that's the movie itself, right? Not a post-credit scene. So I just think they're close. I think the character of Superman I got more invested in than the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
I think the side characters were better in... Well, I mean, there wasn't really many side characters outside of the Fantastic Four. No. But the side characters added something to me in Superman. And also, I think that Lex, while I had my own problems with him at the end, it was the undercuts of humor that really messed up things in Superman. Whereas I think that the things that were a problem for me in Fantastic Four were bigger scale. Like Galactus as a whole. Not just the fact that they decided to cut one part at the end with a dog, with Crypto jumping in and ruining the moment. Like, it ruined Lex a little bit, but it wasn't him entirely losing the whole movie, right? Mm-hmm. Where I felt like Galactus kind of, I don't know, I was just disappointed with his end.
There was a lot of build-up for him to just get thrown into a portal.
Right.
And it was weird
without him doing anything.
It's weird that he grabs Mr. Fantastic and stretches him out, but then a silver lady on a surfboard like knocks him into the ether.
Yeah. Does he have zero like support? Like he seriously he gets one tap by her and he's just
it's just a silver person.
Yeah. And that was it.
Yeah.
I kind of thought with Reed, I thought they were going to do something stupid. Like I thought he was just going to like shoot him off.
I thought he was going to go like that and shoot him into like
into orbit. Yeah. Funny.
Okay, here's how I would immediately describe... Here's how I would immediately answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
Superman to me felt like... It felt like the satisfaction of a trip to Disney World. We have spent months wondering how this was going to go. And there's a lot of working pieces that realistically, if like one or two things don't work out, this could be a disaster. But we're here... And the castle's there, and, like, the food is great, and, like, it all worked out. And, like, it was all the anticipation was worth it. And, like, anything could happen on this trip, but we made it to Disney, and we're staring at the castle, and for some reason, even though everything's probably not all perfect, everything feels perfect right now. And Fantastic Four, to me, feels like the old rickety roller coaster that you get on that ends up being one of your favorite roller coasters of all time that like you get off of it and you're like, oh, we didn't die. Like, that was awesome. Mm-hmm. And the realization that you didn't just die on that old rickety roller coaster is why it was so good.
Okay.
I think that because Marvel has been so bad for such an extended period of time, I think a lot of the anticipation towards Doomsday still being alive and well after this movie uplifts the movie. And I also think that the movie not being a disaster, introducing a bunch of new characters like a lot of these other standalone introductions have been, I think that the satisfaction knowing that like this wasn't bad elevates the movie. Whereas Superman, like, you didn't know what to expect, and there was just a lot going in. Do we need another Superman? Like, do we need a new universe? Is DC going to be able to pull this off? And then they do, and so it's almost like you had nothing to lose with DC. If Superman sucks, DC is the same as it's always been. Mm-hmm. If Fantastic Four stunk and you didn't buy into these characters walking out, all Doom cutscene that was too short and Galactus failure aside, like, if you're walking out not buying into the Fantastic Four, Doomsday is like in a really bad spot. And I think a lot of the reason I'm personally high on Fantastic Four right now is just the whole movie was a 2-hour brow wipe of thank God this movie didn't stink, because now what's coming won't likely stink. And Superman was just very satisfying, and you didn't know what to expect. And so you were able to just enjoy. You had nothing to lose going in, so you just enjoyed the story for what it was. And I think because that was more of a story that you could enjoy right off rip, like just looking at it for what it was, I think that elevates it above Fantastic Four. Now, do I think they're both great movies, and do I think this was one of the better summers for superhero movies ever?
For sure.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
But I would definitely say that Superman is better because it didn't require a lot of suspense to be able to enjoy. There was no satisfaction that it wasn't bad. There was more just like a lot of it was, I'm glad I walked out of that feeling like I felt hopeful. Like I enjoyed it. It was a great movie, but I walked out of it feeling like I want to help somebody cross the street.
Mm-hmm.
And like Fantastic Four, it's like I'm so glad that movie was great, but I didn't really feel anything emotionally. Yeah. Like I'm so satisfied that it was great. It was a 9 out of 10 for me, and that might go down at 2 points or up 2 points. It was a 9 out of 10. I'm sitting at a 9 right now.
Okay.
But like it was a very good movie because I really was hoping it wouldn't be bad, and I'm just like, that's a lot of the hype around it for me right now. It's just like satisfaction that it wasn't terrible.
Mm-hmm. I would push back a little bit on something with the Fantastic Four and implications for Doomsday. I think with it, Avengers has such a marketable name already attached to it that I think people were going to go pretty much regardless. I get your point 100%. That it was detrimental that it be good. I just think it was more detrimental that for the biggest character potentially in DC, if they fumble that, who cares about Supergirl?
Right.
Like, who cares about any of it? Right? But if you can't even get that right, and also Marvel already has a blueprint for what they could have done with this movie, right? They could have played it even more safe than they did and just made it an okay movie. Like, I felt like going in, I don't think that they could have gone lower than a 6. With Superman, however, they're trying to create a whole new identity with a universe and him as a whole, and James Gunn. I just think it was more critical for it to be good, and I think that elevated it more too in my mind. I know you kind of said something similar. I just think it was a bigger problem if DC failed with this than Marvel.
Interesting. And the fact that like the ultimate like culmination of all of it being next year for Marvel and DC, you don't even know. So there's room to improve if it's bad off rip. Like that doesn't change anything for you?
I get your point. I just think I would have been excited and seated for Doomsday no matter what. Maybe a little bit like looking over my shoulder to see if I'm getting followed kind of thing. But
that's it. Like that, knowing that won't be a factor. I don't think I'll be feeling that way. I think I'll just be able to sit. There's no reservation now.
Agreed. But like, I also don't think I would be. I mean, because we're doing this podcast, obviously, I was going to be there for DC, right?
Yeah, of course.
But as just a fan before, is there a chance that maybe I would have just skipped it? Like, yeah,
100%.
As DC, you know. But either way, I was still going to be there for Marvel because of the name Avengers.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me personally, but
okay.
Like, they could have really lost me with DC if this fumbled bad.
Okay.
And I also think the ranges of it fumbling bad were a lot worse. And I think I felt just more positive about Superman out of the theater than I did Fantastic Four.
Absolutely. That's what. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you agreed with that point, but I kind of think that's just a little more of like why I felt that way.
No, I totally get it. So in that sense, like in terms of like a movie that maybe had less to lose, I suppose I could understand why Fantastic Four would have less to lose, because Avengers will attract the masses either way, and Russo brothers are the two best people who could be pinned with a project like that. But in the sense of it being like again, you agree with me that Superman was better, but like that's like you know what I'm saying with like the logic there, where it's almost like a lot of why I think I'm so happy with Fantastic Four is because it both didn't stink and also because it didn't put an enormous amount of pressure on Doomsday to be good. In terms of quality, I'm sure Doomsday will be good. I have no idea where the plot's going to go, but I have no doubt that it'll be okay. I have no doubt it'll be at least a 7 out of 10. And like I don't know how I felt before. I just was worried it would be a like convoluted mess. And now I just feel there's no reservation. I feel whatever story they're going to tell, I'm sure things are going to be left out and things are going to be ignored that I'm going to be like, I wish they touched on that. But like whereas Superman, like it just felt like you had no there was no thing you could point to and say, like, this is, like, the gauge of, like, this is why Superman needs to be good or why it needs to be bad, other than just, like, if it would be great if it worked out because the universe, you know, can continue. And you don't have to, like, fire James Gunn and find a new guy to, like, run DC. Like, you can just build DC off this. Like, aside from that, like, Superman was literally just, like, you're walking in thinking, I hope this is a good movie. And not only was it a good movie, but you walked out feeling like you wanted to, like, be a better person. And Fantastic Four was a great movie. I think I have it slotted somewhere around, like, Guardians 3 and Deadpool Wolverine on my ranking.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm that high on it, but I would prefer
It might move around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd prefer Guardians 3 easily. Deadpool and Wolverine's where I'm a little, like, iffy on it. I'm not sure if I'd go over on that, but I don't know.
I have it. So I have 13 through 16 is Guardians 3, Avengers 1, Deadpool, Wolverine, Fantastic Four.
I'm okay with that.
And then, like, below that would be, again, I have all the legacy stuff in here, so it'd be X-Men Days of Future Past, Iron Man 1, Logan, Black Panther.
That feels about right.
Yeah, so it's somewhere
that's where I
in
put
there.
It too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. I wanted to mention this and kind of ask you this too.
Sure.
I had I'm going to call him out right now. I had a discussion with one of our friends, Cam, and we were talking about music-wise, which movie you thought had the better music. And I want to ask you before I even say which side of that I was on. What would you have said? Superman, Fantastic Four.
Going into it, which do I think would have been better?
No. The music.
I'm sorry. Oh, the music.
Coming out of it, which one do you think is better?
Superman.
Okay. That's what I said too.
Okay.
And do you feel pretty confident in that? I felt very confident saying that. I felt like for the main theme of both, by the way, like Superman clears a mile. And also the way they integrated it into key moments, I felt like impacted me more than Fantastic Four by a lot. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that was I'm glad we agree there. The slow playing of the Superman theme was so perfect, and when they decided to do that, plus you look at it, like they already have 2 other songs that have blown up from that movie.
Yes.
Just because of how cool they were for the moment.
And that's almost a James Gunn guarantee. Mm-hmm. I'm sure DC's worst movie will still have a soundtrack that's probably better than Marvel's best. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just the way James Gunn operates. And that's just soundtrack. But the scoring, I thought, was great. Like, the scoring, like we talked about it last week or the week before, they probably sat in those board meetings and were like, how do you create a new Superman theme that people can get around? We can't do Cavill and we can't do Christopher Reeves. And somebody must have sat up and been like, well, why not? Mm-hmm. And so they took an old thing and they made it feel new. And when they did that, to me, Superman almost became less of a character that's been interpreted by multiple people and more just an idea.
Mm-hmm. I love that take.
That represents things like goodness and kindness. And so that's the power of music, to be able to take a character and make him more of like an overarching symbol. Mm-hmm. And that's what you hear all the time. Superman is a symbol of hope, but you don't see it. And this, I felt like gave him an area of, what's the word, iconography or something, where he could just sit and be known. This music represents Superman. And Fantastic Four, I will give them props. One of Marvel's better, like, initial scorings. Like, for in terms of, like, a new character, like, around 10 minutes into the movie, I already had their theme memorized. And I liken that to, like, Spider-Man Homecoming or, like, the Guardians theme. You just, like, almost immediately, like, you not only, like, have their score memorized, you associate and expect that score to pop up every time the character does, and you almost, like, anticipate it. Like, I look forward to hearing that score when the Fantastic Four fly into the scene in Doomsday or Secret Wars, and I expect and eagerly await it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't Superman. But, again, not knocking it. It was just great.
That's exactly great. The take. It was great, but Superman was just on another level.
Exactly. Okay. It was more epic and sweeping, and it created a symbol for a character rather than just, like, giving a new take.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm glad you agree with that. Yeah. I had one last thing I wanted to touch on for this episode. With Doom coming in finally getting that reveal, do you think, because I think there was a lot better places that they could have had Robert Downey Jr. revealed as Doom than when they did it. I know it was cool at the moment, but either the way they did the cast reveal, I think having him come onto screen like that would have hit so much harder if you didn't know. I also think it would have been crazy cool if maybe that's when they revealed in the post-credit scene. Him, just something more like tangibly in the movies, I think would have made it a lot bigger of an impact. Because, right, like social media numbers are important for getting people to the theater, so I get that. But I think having people going in and then seeing it would have been such a much bigger impact. Can you imagine us walking out of the theater? I would have bumped the rating up a whole point if I had seen RDJ for the first time as Doom. I wouldn't know what to think, but it would be just so like shocking that I think it could have been a lot cooler than them doing at, where did they do it, Comic-Con?
Right. Yeah. So your question is like in terms of their handling of Doom.
Like when would you have revealed RDJ as Doom?
It's tricky because, like you said, even though they played it safe, it is a solid ending, and you want the movie to be able to stand on its own. You don't want to feel like you have to watch this movie and then immediately follow it up with this. But if you want to make it an open-ended ending, you have that post-credit scene just be the ending, where, like you said, Franklin's back at the place, and they get back after defeating Galactus, and Doom is just there. They're all staring at him, and that's how the movie ends. Or the post-credit scene play out a little different, where Sue returns to the living room to give the new book to Franklin. Franklin's gone. You hear the ship firing up. They run out and race out to get to the ship. The ship lifts off, and it cuts to like Franklin, like beside himself, like stuck in the ship. And who's piloting it? Who's piloting it? And the camera pans across the floor, maybe moves up the control panel, and turns around, and it's just RDJ as Doom flying. Like that maybe would have been how I'd have done it. Just more of an immediate threat, rather than just walking away from it, being like, oh, okay, so I guess in Doomsday, like at the start, like Doom will have a conversation with, like, an immediate threat. This kid is in danger. Not Doom could be talked down from this. Not, like, like an immediate, like Doom has the kid, what's going to happen? I don't know. Something just more of an immediate threat. I leaned over to my buddy that I saw the movie with today, and I just said, I feel like Doom not being present when the world was turning on the Fantastic Four halfway through the movie, I felt that was a little bit of a loss, even though I don't know how they would have integrated him, because you want there to be a big build-up and reveal. With Doom's character and his motivations behind his rivalry with Reed, it would have made sense for him to be kind of the driving force between behind the Fantastic Four hate that was kind of sweeping the world when they returned from space.
Right.
And so for him to not be there when that was all happening, unless he's at the end, he's coming from the multiverse, like that, him not being there, assuming he's on their Earth, doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, they feel very separated.
Right.
Doom and Reed and the whole Fantastic Four.
And they're not supposed to be.
It just feels like he happened to know it be like the same role that Galactus has with Franklin.
Yeah. And I there's bits and pieces where, again, similar to The Thing, I could have seen Doom being there, but I don't know if it would have helped his character. And I don't think it would have been the right place to have him be. Again, it all just falls on Doomsday now. Like, however you're going to lay this story out, like, I trust you to stick the landing, but they got to really figure it out, because I have no idea where this story all comes together. To be fair, in Avengers, going into Infinity War and Endgame, you knew the fact that there were two back-to-back Avengers movies. You figured Thanos was going to win. Like, the writing was on the wall, and it was shocking the way it happened. But you kind of, I mean, come on, like you kind of knew
something was happening. Yeah,
you kind of knew it was more just the dread of like your worst fears being realized. Whereas like Doom, like I really have no idea
what they're going to do.
Yeah,
because they can't just redo the same thing over again.
No,
I think also with Infinity War is the scale that it happened. That was so dramatic. But
yeah, it's all tricky to. But I don't. Again, I guess if I sat long enough, I probably could come up with some ways, and I'm sure you, having sat on this movie for a couple days, have better ideas than I do. I just don't know if any of them would have made sense in the context of like the actual movie and how it ended. Even though it was safe, like I don't know. Again, because 20 minutes ago I just said they should have taken a risk. So I really don't know. This is like the product of like immediate reaction to a movie. I'm all over the place, but I definitely think that like there was not enough Doom. Again, even just a matter of panning around to his face, which I'm assuming, like, whether it be, like, the comic book, like, facial scarring, there's probably a reason they didn't do that.
I've heard that they plan to not touch that. He's going to have a clean face.
He's just a clean face, and that's also comic book accurate. There's just so many different iterations, so, like, again, either way, but, like, I don't know. I have no idea, dude. Yeah. I really don't know how they're going to play it out. More questions than answers for Doomsday, but more comfort than fear.
Right. Yes. Let's enjoy the ride they're taking us on. all across the board. Superhero stuff is back. It's been back. Everyone needs to go see the movie if you haven't.
100%.
At this point, I may assume at this point you have, unless I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless you just like listening to us talk, you know. I don't know.
You feel hundreds of people at our
DMs. I know. DMs.
Well, we both have to get out of here, but we have a chock-loaded rest of our summer with the lack of movies. I think we have a lot to look forward to. We have a couple new games that we're going to be trying out in the coming weeks. One that we had to cut, unfortunately, from today, just because of we both got it out. But we have a lot going on. So the movies may be gone, but I feel that the best is ahead in terms of us. We're figuring out the show. We're still figuring out the show, and we're finding our footing here.
It's a good line, dude. Movies may be gone, but
and Soups is on the couch next week, so be
ready for that.
Soups will be here.
And as always, before you ask for a favor, make sure you butter up your company.